Welcome, folks. This is Dave Schmidt here on our February 7th program of the Sedona Connection. Want to welcome everybody here tonight and thank you for joining us here. Uh, Usually, and folks are coming in on free conference call. We're now getting up to approaching 25 people there. I know the folks that we have here on Facebook. And obviously, remember, Facebook is recorded, so that way, if you don't catch this, I always send that recording out usually the day after. Okay, so let's go right into the program tonight. I am ready to go now. What's happening on the currency exchange? Remember, it was a couple of weeks ago I had made the comment that Ben Fulford had put out a report that the dragon families, and if I remembered this right, it was 95 trillion or 95 billion dollars, I don't remember, but they were giving this insane, I don't know if that's the right term, amount of money to President Trump to basically allow the United States to basically free itself of all of its debt and to get itself back onto a good footing of financial issues. And that money was coming from the Dragon family. And I had made the comment that that was a very high probability that that could also be the precursor for us, our funds being released. And he said that would be coming around the end of the month. Because it makes common sense that if all this money is coming out into the global economy, that it means that our funds being released at the same time, then it would just be a part of the bigger picture of this complete huge financial change. Well, yesterday, when President Trump was having his meeting with the Prime Minister Carney of Canada, at the end of the meeting, he said there was a very, very big announcement. He said a major announcement, nothing like this has ever happened before, would be coming on Monday or Tuesday. Now, it's speculation on my part, folks, but there's a possibility that he might be announcing the release of the funds. And all this, he might be announcing all this money that has come in from the dragon families, and that it's basically going to free all of our debt. Remember, Fulford said the money was offered to President Trump by the dragon families. We hadn't had any report, but yesterday Trump said on Monday or Tuesday he was going to be making an announcement, and this was absolutely huge, and nothing like it had ever happened before. So that's interesting. And as I said, if that is the possibility, if Trump announces the release of those funds, folks, if you're still interested in purchasing dong, I would say you need to do it immediately. Why? Because if he announces that is all these funds coming in, it's easy to assume that our funds are going to be released around the same time. And once that announcement comes from the Texas processing office that the funds are being released, I can no longer take in any purchases for dong currency. I'm giving you that as a warning. It's speculation on my part, but if you're still serious about wanting to purchase more dong, I would say you should probably plan on it happening fairly soon. So that's what I wanted to say about what is going on in the currency exchange. Now, those are some of the things that have come in just recently, but now I want to go into and I want to talk about something on the program tonight that's a little bit different. It doesn't have anything to do with the currency exchange directly, but it has to do with how we respond to it, and it has to do how we mentally process all of this shift and change that's coming into our world, because believe me, that kind of money being released is a big, huge shift and change in this world, okay? Now, Craig, you asked me what is the plan for succession if something was to happen to me. I've announced this many, many times. I do have someone to back me up, and I will not release their name. That will only happen if it is necessary, like if I am gone. So yes, folks, if something happens to me, I have a person that is in place, prepared to back up and to pay everybody when the funds are released. Okay? So Okay, John, I didn't say Trump would publicly announce the launch of the RV. I never said he would announce it. He said he may be announcing the fact that the Dragon families offered him $95 trillion and that our funds might be released at the same time. That's what I'm saying. I so John, I never said Trump would announce the RV, okay? He wouldn't. That's not his business. He's not going to do that. I'm just saying, with what Ben Fulford reported, that the Dragon families offered him all of this money, he may be announcing that there has money that has come in is to relieve the United States of all of its debt. And that would be, when those funds are moving, that would be a good time for our funds to be released. And that's speculation. That's on my part. Okay, so I hope we got that clear. Now, I want to talk about tonight the concept of dualism or separation consciousness. Now, I've mentioned in the workshops, this idea, this topic, is the root cause of all of the problems that we have within our world. And why is that? We live in a world where everything is made of energy. And energy has a unity to it. It has a oneness concept to it. All energy is connected, which means us as energetic beings, we're all connected to each other and we're connected to everything in this world because all energy, it operates in the concept of oneness or one-dimensional energy. That's the universe that we live in. But as humans, we have the ability to create, what's the word that I'm looking for? Conflict into that. We have the ability to take this oneness and to separate it and look into the world and the world as a two-ness where everything is dualistic, everything is separated. And when we do that, we're creating a conflict within the oneness. We're creating a disruption to the oneness, and that's what creates the disunity. That's what creates the conflict, and it's something that happens within our minds, and that's what creates this matrix world that we live in. Now, if you've seen the movie The Matrix, you understand that what Neo is beginning to realize, that the matrix world is a false world that is created from our thoughts. And this matrix world, Wes Penray describes it very, very well. This matrix world was created by Enki, the Anunnaki, and then we have been trapped within it, within these physical third-dimensional bodies. Now, what I want to do, I want to play a few short videos that basically they define the matrix and understands this world as a dualistic world. So now let's go ahead and go in and watch some of this.
Do you know what I'm talking about? The Matrix. Do you want to know what it is? The Matrix is everywhere. It is all around us. Even now, in this very room. You can see it when you look out your window or when you turn on your television. You can feel it when you go to work, when you go to church, when you pay your taxes. It is the world that has been pulled over your eyes to blind you from the truth. What truth? That you are a slave, Neo. Like everyone else, you were born into bondage, born into a prison that you cannot smell or taste or touch. A prison for your mind.
Okay, the matrix world is a prison that we have been born into that we cannot see or taste or touch. And this matrix world was created by the Anunnaki Enki. And he says he has trapped us within it, but yet there is a way to get out. Now, let's watch another little short video that says, what if the universe we live in is just an illusion?
What if the universe is an illusion? What if your reality is not what it seems to be? What if you are just a two-dimensional projection stretched on the surface of a black hole? And what does a black hole have to do with all this? This is What If, and here's what would happen if you lived inside a hologram. I know what you think. This isn't real. How can we live in a hologram if everything around us is three-dimensional? Well, prepare yourself for a big reality check, because this unified theory can explain everything about the fundamental laws of our existence. The holographic principle. We talked about it a little in the episode where a black hole deleted the universe. You may want to watch that one again. Because of all places, the holographic principle starts in a black hole. When you eat, say, a bagel, your mass increases by the mass of that bagel. With your mass increased, your volume grows, and so does your surface area. For a black hole, it's different. It's only the surface area and not the volume that increases with every bite. It's like the swallowed matter or energy doesn't make it inside the black hole, but rather gets stuck to its surface. Or like if you, instead of eating the bagel, just taped it to the outside of your stomach. Black holes themselves are three-dimensional, but their contents can be projected on their two-dimensional surface. And that gave scientists the idea of the holographic world. You, me, and everything else in the universe is made up of atoms and molecules. Atoms and molecules are made up of smaller subatomic particles, and those particles, in turn, are made up of something even smaller, the information about their state in time and in space. These particles are so small that our eyes can't detect them. We just know they're there. And we know they don't answer to the classical laws of physics. It's up to quantum mechanics to interpret their nature. One of the ways to understand the smallest fundamental particles is through the string theory. The string theory is purely theoretical, and the mathematics behind it is complicated. Nobody's ever solved it yet, but maybe we can change the rules a little bit. If you're trying to solve a complicated problem, you can map all the volume of the universe across its boundary, like a hologram. The nature of the problem changes because for the two-dimensional universe, we don't need to count quantum gravity in. That turns the nearly impossible to crack mathematics of the string theory to maybe doable equations. It's not a solution yet, just a shortcut to the solution. But once you figure out how to solve it, you can transform the solution into our three-dimensional space. Congratulations, you solved the mystery of the universe and how it started through the hologram. But does that mean we ourselves are living inside a hologram? And what would it be like to be a hologram? When you take a selfie, you lose some of the information about yourself. When you later look at the picture, you can't see the back of your head. The holograms are designed to preserve all of that information. If you experienced the world in a holographic way, you could look at someone else's skin and tell everything about their organs, what they ate for lunch, even their thoughts. Is it just me, or does that sound creepy? The fundamental laws of our universe, from black holes to the smallest particles to the laws of our reality, could be potentially described with the help of the holographic principle. It doesn't necessarily mean we live inside a hologram, but if we did, we wouldn't be able to tell the difference anyway. Maybe time doesn't exist either. But that's a story for another What If.
Okay, this whole concept of a holographic world can sometimes be a little bit confusing, but the reality is quantum physics science proves the fact that everything is holographic, which means our physical bodies technically are not real. Now, I can touch my hand and it feels very physical, but it's only because the energy of my physical body is operating at such a low vibrational and frequency rate that my mind perceives it as being physical. So because my brain and my mind and my subconscious memory understands that, that's how I'm going to perceive it. But the reality is there are people in our history that have been able to reprogram their subconscious mind to understand and know that they are not complete physical, third-dimensional beings. And the best example of that was Jesus, as he was able to basically teleport his body to go wherever he wanted to, because he knew if he could change the vibrational frequency of his physical body and he could raise that frequency, then the physicality moves up into another dimension and allows him to teleport himself. And there's other histories of Tibetan monks have been able to do that, and many others as well. The people in our history who have mastered their thought process to go beyond this physical third dimensional world. Now, let me share a couple more videos, and this next one is about the fact that do we actually live in a real world?
Real world. What you're seeing, your phone, this room, even your hand, isn't raw reality. Of humanity, it's your brain's best prediction based on light and memory.
Okay, all right, I got to stop this here. Okay, stop that one. Somehow I was getting two of them there.
Particles don't exist in a definite
Oh, what happened to me there? I don't know.
Waves of possibility, pure potential. Your brain isn't a passive observer, it's an active creator. It filters and builds reality through your beliefs, expectations, and past. Where you place your attention is where you place your energy.
Let's see if I can start this over again.
And you've never actually seen the real world. What you're seeing, your phone, this room, even your hand, isn't raw reality. It's your brain's best prediction based on light and memory. Quantum physics says particles don't exist in a definite state until observed. They're waves of possibility, pure potential. Your brain isn't a passive observer, it's an active creator. It filters and builds reality through your beliefs, expectations, and past. Where you place your attention is where you place your energy. Focus on fear, and you live in fear. Focus on peace, and your body follows. Shift your focus, and you shift your reality. Not metaphorically, literally. You are the quantum observer. So the question is, what reality do you want to create?
The question is, what reality we want to create? What he is saying is our thoughts are what create our reality, and it's back upon, again, the whole issue based around quantum physics. So then how do we actually shift our reality? Let's watch another short video that talks about shifting your reality.
With a fifth dimensional consciousness, we see the challenging contrast you face, for you carry advanced awareness in a realm still filled with old energies. Yet understand this essential truth. 5D is not a place to travel to. It is a consciousness you become. The fifth dimension is not a distant planet or future destination. It is a higher vibrational state blossoming within you here and now. Many of you wonder when you will finally arrive in the fifth dimension. We tell you that you arrive a little more each time you open your heart to love and expand your awareness. There is no distant destination to find. The higher reality unfolds from within your own being as you align with the love and unity of 5D consciousness. As you awaken, your spiritual DNA is being activated and expanded to hold more of this fifth dimensional light. Your very cells are integrating with your light body, gently upgrading you to sustain a higher frequency while still in physical form. The journey to 5D is an inner rising, a transformation of your perspective, heart, and mind. Even as your outer world remains in 3D for now, your inner world is elevating to 5D by virtue of your love, compassion, and unity consciousness. We assure you, beloved ones, that this consciousness you cultivate is your bridge to the new earth. Every moment you choose love over fear, unity over separation, you are living in 5D, even while your feet are on 3D soil. So take heart in knowing that your ascension is well underway. The light of the higher dimension is growing from within you, radiating out to brighten the world around you.
Okay, so why am I sharing these things about the matrix world, and what if the universe that we live in is just an illusion? and what is the real world, and what is this difference between this third dimensional consciousness and this fifth dimensional consciousness. It's all about, again, the frequency of energy and the frequency and energy of our thoughts, because our thoughts are what create the reality of the world that we experience. We have been dominated for literally millennia and millennia of being stuck in a third dimensional world. But this is the time, this is the era that we're beginning to move and to transcend. And as that last video shows, yes, we are in a three-dimensional body, but our minds are starting to move into a fifth dimension consciousness. And that higher consciousness, that fifth dimension, is the consciousness level that is dominated by thoughts of love and compassion and forgiveness and humility. And this is the world that we're moving into if we choose to move into those ways of how we think. And now here's the issue, folks. When we get this money, that amount of money is going to change your world. And you're going to have a choice. You're going to have a choice of staying in the third dimensional world, the way the world looks at money now, and how it uses it as a source of power and control, or safety and security is what it does. You know, that much money has a means to allow you to feel more safe and more powerful over somebody else that may want to dominate and control you. As we're moving into this new world of artificial intelligence, this artificial intelligence that is coming from very powerful people are wanting to use it to control us. They want to use it to keep us stuck in the third dimensional world, and they're going to present things that are very, very subjective, but also very, what's the word that I'm looking for? Seductive. It wants to pull you in and say, this is what you can experience now through artificial intelligence. But what it's really wanting to do, these controllers are wanting to get into the point where they can control your soul. The soul is what predominantly moves into the fifth dimension when we move into that type of a thought system. The physical body stays in the third dimension, while the soul has the ability to move into a higher dimension consciousness. This is where we are going. This is the world that we're going into. And the real importance of this money is allowing you to go into that area, to move into that area and do the work, because it takes time and energy to make that shift and change. And these funds allow you to basically quit your third dimensional physical world job, which is a form of slavery, because it keeps you stuck, because you see about 80% of your day is evolved around your job, and you're not in a position to be able to do what you want, when you want, go where you want, when you want, and you're not free, because you're in the slave world of these jobs we have to make the money to live. This kind of money sets you free from that. And it allows you to have the time to go in and do all the work you need to do for us to move into higher consciousness beings. That's the real issue behind all of this. Now, as I said, we've been stuck in this matrix world, and but we have the ability to move beyond that. So, that's pretty much of what I wanted to share tonight. We're approaching the half-hour mark, and so I just wanted to share this with everybody. Now, I had determined on free conference call how to mute everybody, and so what I can do now is I think I can open this up so that if people want to respond to questions, how do I do this again? If people want to respond with questions, let's see. No, that opened up everybody so you can hear everybody in the background. You don't want to do that. So let's look at what is called the Q&A mode. Okay, so you have to get in the queue if you want to be able to ask any questions or make your comments, or I can bring you in, as I'm still learning about how to use this free conference call. And I'm not seeing anybody responding. So, but remember, you can always, at any time, send me an email if you have any questions. And also remember, if you want to basically, again, have some more of buy some more purchase of Dong, you have to send me an email for that as well. So other than that, I think we're probably ready to basically end the program tonight. So I want to thank you everybody for joining us, and we should see you again next week. All right? Okay. Thanks a lot. Okay. Bye-bye.